And when you look further out into the Atlantic and go even further south of where we have Imelda at this time, into the main development region, we do have an update to that area to watch. It is now orange. 40% chance of development, a medium chance of development that we could have something tropical form in the next week or so. This is a tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa, the western coast of Africa. And keep in mind that anytime we see a wave emerging from Africa and moving into the tropical Atlantic, it is a very long process of waiting. We're talking about thousands of miles to cover here in terms of waiting for something to develop. So the general direction you're noticing is towards the Lesser Antilles, and this is within that zone. It's a very large zone. As Stephen mentioned yesterday, it's pretty much all of that, all of the MDR, where we could see something tried to organize. So tropical threat probability, this exclusive product that we have here at Fox Weather, and pretty similar, I want to say, to what we had yesterday. I don't know if there's more of a southward trend in direction.
Maybe a little.
I don't know.
Maybe
it'd be a hair.
Slightly earlier development. Yeah, we are splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
When we look at the difference, it's on the low side, but the confidence is growing that next week this could be the breeding ground for another system. That's what the Hurricane Center said. It just was beefed up to a 40% shot.
It was, yeah. That was the latest update, top of the hour.
Yeah.
So it's worth paying attention to, right? We've had systems come out of this part of the Atlantic already this season. Here's that area of low pressure watching likely a non-tropical low near the Bahamas, and then paying attention to the steering, right? High pressure is still playing a role potentially in terms of that westward steering, but then the question of how far north, how far south does it decide to move? Some of that depends on how strong it's able to get. Moisture. This one's got the moisture.
It does have the moisture, and it's going to send, at the very least, some clouds through the to the Windward Islands. I think it'll probably be more than clouds. We're probably going to get some rain associated with this. If we get that overall spin, then that would be something to watch for possibly the next named storm, which, as we know, is Jerry. But the overall look hasn't really changed much compared to what we saw yesterday, which I guess is consistent. So we know that the persistence of these trends gives just natural confidence, right?
Right.
We're one day closer and we're still seeing the same thing. So then the NHC is saying, all right, we can up the ante just a bit. Yeah,
exactly.
And I think that's the overall trend. We still have the other L's everywhere else that we talked about through the Bahamas into the Southern Gulf, but this is where we've had all pistons firing, right? We've got the GFS, the Euro, the Google AI, and the X, so.
Yeah, it is interesting to see that nice little cluster. So anytime you see a cluster, there's a little bit of agreement, and you keep that through the weekend, it looks like. And then things start to spread out as you get into next week. And noticing this is 7 days out from today. This is a week from today. This is on Friday. Still a little bit of that cluster,
right.
But there's a big difference between something that's here and something that's here.
Yeah.
And then that's just location. We're just basing this purely off of location. And then you get further into next week, into next weekend, and you get a lot of spread.
Yeah, a lot of spread. A general idea that maybe this thing will make that very familiar turn this season, where we've seen it not really much in the way of the Caribbean and the Gulf getting these Cabo Verde storms. But the fact that this thing could turn, and then we could be talking about something else by how many days out?
10 days out.
10, 11 days. 360 hours out.
Yeah.
The fact that we could have something by mid-October wouldn't be a surprise, I guess, given the overall track.
I mean, I'd say October is this transition month for the tropics, where you start to see this area quiet down quite a bit and this area start to pick up in terms of development. But the season's been odd and a little weird in many levels, but not forgetting that it's also been capable of producing 3 major hurricanes.
3 majors.
2 Cat 5s.
Yes.
And a lot of the strengthening has been within this zone.
Right there.
So we wait and we watch.